Welcome to Office Hours, everyone. I'm your host, Matt Larson. And as always, we've got our publisher support team, Teri and Vera, on the call. Welcome, both of you.
Good afternoon.
And it's Thursday at noon. So that means we're doing office hours. We're just talking about what's going on at the company. This is some industry news sometimes. We're going to go over our newsletters, though. So first of all, I wanted to announce this hasn't gone out yet. I think it'll go out tomorrow morning. Is a scheduled maintenance newsletter. So this is related to our constant focus on upgrading our systems and just having everything up to date. Basically, engineering has requested a server infrastructure update. It's going to require a little bit of downtime, but based on everyone's feedback, we have discovered that the best time to do this is definitely on the weekends, as late as possible. So we're going to be doing it at 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific. So it's well beyond any time that anyone's publishing their paper online. And so this is just something to pay attention to in case you are, publishing late and trying to send out newsletters at that time. Just try not to do it in this time frame between 2 a.m. Eastern and 3 a.m. We're really going to try to keep the downtime minimum. It's probably only going to be a few minutes, but you should expect up to an hour just in case they encounter any unexpected issues. But, these all go super smooth. They're all scheduled. It's not like, things are failing when this happens. This is a scheduled maintenance so that we can prevent unexpected downtime. So that's the big headline for today. Next, I want to just bring up this week's newsletter, which went out Tuesday. And we brought some attention to print inserts and coupons, which is a great topic. Teri, you actually suggested this topic for the newsletter, I think, right?
Yep, I did. Yep.
So,
special sections, having a special sections carousel to display any of the inserts, like maybe you do a holiday promo or you have a grocery store that sends their insert every week or every 2 weeks. You can display them on your website. And it's a super easy thing to do. If you've uploaded PDFs, you already know how to do that. And we'll just place a widget. And Jack even explains in this article how to place the widget on your website. So it's super easy. It doesn't cost anything extra.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. This is
and
just
readers love these special sections. We've gotten feedback from readers where if you put together like a nice holiday guide or a summer fun guide, that type of thing, readers love those things. So it's great extra exposure for your advertisers.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. This is big for certain publications. I know that they've got spring and summer guides, and we're heading into that season. So it's kind of like the mantra of our hometown is why not just repurpose it for the web? If you're going to create it for print, you might as well upload it onto the website, like you said, just to get more exposure for those advertisers that are paying good money to be in these, special print editions. So the whole tutorial is available on our blog. You can also get it on the dashboard. All of our blog posts appear there, and obviously from the weekly newsletter. So that was the topic this week. I really like that focus. Going back to the essentials and the core business of the print newspaper, I think is always important. We're trying to focus on new things like the podcasts and some other tools that we have coming out soon for the website, but it's really important to not lose focus on repurposing the print content.
Right, and if you're a full service publisher with our hometown, all you have to do is send us the PDFs and we'll just upload them.
Okay, right. That's great. Yep. So just include it in can they just send it in the same folder, the same FTP folder, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we'll know that those don't need to be extracted. We'll recognize it as an insert and just upload it.
Correct.
Awesome. Great. Anything else? Any other comments on that?
I have one.
Sure.
When I worked for the paper in Pennsylvania, we used to do our own placemats. Now, that could also be something if they have restaurants that they want to cater to.
Right.
We would just get like a business directory of local businesses to go into placement, and then we would just give them to the restaurants for free. Of course,
Right.
the advertiser paid a certain amount for those. You could put the placemats there too. I just thought of it.
That's cool. So like just placemats for eating at the restaurant, you're saying.
That's
Like
right. Yeah,
to,
we've got a lot of buffets. Well, before COVID, of course, but
right.
a lot of restaurants, and we would get the local businesses who wanted to be on that,
Right.
and I think it was like $50, and
Right.
then you could have as many as you wanted, and of
Right.
course, the larger the space, the more money you could get for them.
I love it. Yeah. I remember going out to restaurants back in the day, and you would entertain yourself by looking at the placemat, a lot of times. So like it gets attention, people are sitting there waiting for their food. So I think it's a really good placement. And as businesses start to open up again, I know a lot of restaurants are opening up here in Utah. I mean, what is it looking like in Pennsylvania and New York these days for you
We have
guys?
75% capacity, but we still have a mask mandate.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's about the same here.
Okay.
I think people are really excited and energized, and there's that little bit of fear still,
Right.
But,
Right.
overall, there's excitement.
Right.
I know Saturday when it got released, you couldn't get near Applebee's.
Wow. When they opened it up
Yeah,
finally?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Friday, well, it was Saturday at midnight is when the mandate went into effect. So
Okay.
that way it was 75% capacity. But yeah, you
Right.
couldn't even get in the parking lot of Applebee's.
Wow. Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a big swing back, and hopefully a surge in business for all these restaurants that have really been suffering for the last year. But the ones that are still with us, I'm sure they'll do very well this spring and summer. Um, all right. Anything else on that topic this week? Print inserts. That's a good overview for that one. Let's talk about events. We've got tomorrow another Kevin Slimp webinar, and I saw another request to add some names to the invite list. So you can still do that. We really need those by the end of the day today, I would say. It's Thursday, April 8th, because that's going to be happening pretty early Friday. And we need to give Kevin, some heads up so that he can send out those invites. So if you could get your submissions in today, all you got to do is go to our blog post here. It's right from the newsletter. Whoops, actually not that one. We want you to go to the register now link, and that'll get you to this webinar series page, which you've probably seen several times. We're using the same form for everything though, so it's really easy for you to sign up for all of the events in one shot, and it just takes 2 minutes to put in your contact info, and then you can select from the events that you want to attend. But again, these are all free. This session is actually normally $89. Kevin sometimes offers short-term discounts on his website, $20 off, but we get 100% off for our hometown customers. And we just continue to have a great relationship with Kevin. It seems like every event, more customers are going, and more like the fraction of his audience is our hometown, and he's getting all these great questions during and after the session, and I know he loves working with our customers. So it's just getting better and better. We're definitely looking to expand beyond I think it's September we have scheduled right now, but for right now, definitely lock in your registration as soon as you can, and enjoy Kevin. I think it's for an hour and a half. He'll be talking about laying out grad sections. Okay. And then, and just jump in if you guys have any comments, but I'll just run through these other events. Thursday, April 22nd, I'm going to be interviewing Texas publishers on some of the measures they took to deal with the blizzard. And it's just going to be, we're trying to distill some lessons, that any publisher can use for any kind of natural disaster. We've seen a lot of publishers get put out of print due to hurricanes, and other major storms. So, these things can apply for any type of natural disaster. Really looking forward to talking to those publishers on that. And then we're going to be doing another one of these webinars. I've done a couple, one for America's newspapers and the Iowa and Illinois Press Association. This one's going to be for the National Newspaper Association on Thursday, April 29th at 1 p.m. So if you're a member of the NNA, you're welcome to join. Of course, if you're in our hometown customer, you can join any of these. And I'm going to be talking about how we're automating podcasting with the audio articles feature and how that can all be fed into Buzzsprout and syndicated to all the major podcast apps. So it's really an exclusive webinar. We've got some exciting new updates to share with you on that. And just a reminder to anytime you have questions, things you want to learn more about, we're always looking for feedback on, well, first of all, what features would you like to see on the website, but also what do you need more guidance on? What are the frequently encountered problems or questions that you may come across? Because usually it's a very simple solution. It's just a matter of us getting you the tutorial link or explaining how it's done. So with that, let's actually transition to the FAQ portion of office hours. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let's, how about we start with Teri? You said you had an FAQ for us or two today. Is that right?
I do. I have two.
Okay.
Seems like it has to do with updates on both of them. And I'm not sure our publishers are really aware of how updates are processed or implemented on all the sites. But a lot of times we'll have an out-of-the-box plugin, something that we didn't create.
Right.
The original developers update that plugin.
Right.
So our engineering team goes through and vets all these updates and then they roll them out. And then the other option is any plugins we develop.
Right.
We also constantly update, and that goes through the same process. But
right.
Occasionally we get hit with updates that we're not familiar with. And we had a couple happen this week. One was the newsletter plugin.
Right.
So if you've gone and you're used to creating a regular newsletter or they're using the drag and drop composer, and I think a lot of publishers are actually doing this now. Let me see, where's my share screen button?
Right. Yeah, we did these updates earlier this week, and it's definitely, it's just part of being on WordPress. We're getting these updates all the time, like you said. So let's see what this one is. It's for the newsletter.
Yep, and I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to make believe I'm creating a new newsletter.
Okay.
The first thing you notice is, where have all my buttons gone, or all my options? Okay, and see how different this looks?
Right.
And there's no longer a blank template. You actually have to start with just start with a simple template and then just take everything off.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, they removed that. Start with a blank template, but everything else is here. I noticed that the text looks a little funny. I'm not sure if it's just my screen.
They've changed the styling, it looks like.
Yeah.
I see that. It's like gray-ish now. Okay. Well, that's honestly, that update kind of makes sense to me. It's just, it does throw you sometimes when you see something you're not expecting, but you're never going to send a blank template. So you might as well start with something. And it's just, maybe if you're not used to using those, it'll just take some, experimentation there.
And then on the automated, our buttons don't say what they are anymore.
Okay.
You can kind of pull out your crystal ball, or if you're patient, you can hover and eventually it will tell you.
Okay.
When you edit anything, you're going to go to the little gear. If you want
What's that one for?
The little gear takes you to the edit page where you can edit your selections. Okay. Nothing's changed here.
Right. The one next to that is newsletters. So that is, you can see, so this is for the automated, so you can see all the ones that have been sent.
Right. That would be if this paper used automated, which they don't.
Okay.
And then here you can duplicate it.
Okay. Duplicate that channel.
So we have to, I guess we all have to learn the icon language, apparently.
Right. Right.
Around this.
No, that's good. That's good to
If
point out.
if there are any questions, feel free to call us or shoot us a quick email and we can explain a couple things. They're not really drastic changes. It's just sometimes if you're used to doing things a certain way or used to seeing things, it can kind of throw you in a panic if you're in a hurry to get things done.
Right.
So
Right.
don't be afraid to reach out.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah, that's a
Teri,
really good
there's
one.
2 buttons down at the bottom, one that says classic theme and the other says configure.
Right.
Are they basically the same thing?
Classic theme takes you to the old style newsletter that did not, I don't know if it's going to show up on here, that did not have the drag and drop composer. And I usually suggest using rather than using the classic theme, you want to use the regular theme.
Okay. Gotcha.
Configuration, this is probably where you set, yeah.
Okay, so that's unrelated to the changes then.
Right, yep. Okay.
So while we're on the newsletter, though, let me ask you this. I think we're probably going to have a newsletter on this soon, but this is on Lavas. Are you logged in as ops or no?
Yes. Yep.
You are. Okay. Well, I believe that we made an update where you can now
Right.
change the name that
Yes.
right from the wave. They wanted to be able to change the name that the email is coming from. So
Correct.
it doesn't always say the wave. Sometimes it says Rockaway Beachcomber. So
Yep.
I
And I'm
mean,
not sure where exactly that is. We'll have to find that out, Matt.
I think isn't it up in settings? Yeah, I think general settings. I'm familiar with this because this has always been an ops admin level thing. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Change from name.
So I'm logged
settings.
in as an admin, so I'm not sure if all publishers can see this. See.
Oh, see, I think, you know what? Maybe James hasn't, I thought he rolled it out. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Here it is, but this is what publishers weren't able to see before. So I'm not, there's
maybe
Amazon
he,
AWS requires us to have a valid email,
right.
So that we're not flagged for spam. So I'm not sure that we have to verify this.
No problem. We can talk about it in future office hours after we do that newsletter. We'll be logged in as a user on this site when we do it. So that's okay. Let's come back to that later. It's kind of a brand new thing. So
But one thing also with this update is sometimes editors aren't able to see the automated option.
Okay.
We ran into that twice this morning. So we need, if you're missing the automated option on your newsletter settings here on your dashboard, just shoot us a quick email. It's something that we have to do on the back end.
Okay. Gotcha. That's a setting. Yeah. I wonder if we can fix that just globally somehow. Maybe something to bring up with James on our Tuesday meeting.
Okay.
Let's get that on that list in Asana. Just because these commonly encountered things I think could be wiped out pretty quick by him.
Well, also it makes publishers nervous thinking, hey, did I pay my bill or how come I don't have access anymore?
Right.
So
yeah.
Nervous, like, oh no.
Right. Exactly.
Address that as quickly as possible.
Right. All right, great. Now let's switch over. We're doing good on time here. We do want to wrap it up about 15 minutes before 1. So let's switch over. Vera, can you take? I'll reclaim and then make Vera the host, or did you already take it, Vera?
Maybe I took it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. No problem. I mean, only if you need to show something.
Well, I do. I have one.
Great.
I actually had one earlier this week where the person was trying to place an ad through Ad Rotate. Well, if you know how to do it, you just go right to Add New. She did everything right. Well, communicating with email every now and then, you can misinterpret. So I logged into a Zoom call with her really quick. Mm-hmm. Well, she was clicking here and it wouldn't come up at all.
Okay.
Well, after we looked and we fiddled around, she actually had 3 of them stacked together. Well, what happened is it wasn't showing that she was clicking, but it did that, and it created three of the same ads stacked on top of each other. That's the
Oh, wow.
first.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
and
it
it
was
was
just a
all the same
delay.
ad. Well, no. It was her Chrome. It needed to be updated. It was highlighted update in red. Well, it
Ah.
wasn't showing when she was clicking this that she was clicking it. It wasn't showing anything but a black box. Well, she didn't want to lose what she was trying to do, so she saved it. And then on the front page, it had three of the same images stacked above each other.
I want to show you guys this video, okay? And just I want to try this idea like a reaction video. You ever hear of those on YouTube? It's like a thing that people do. They'll watch a video and then kind of just discuss it, and then they like create new content um, just by doing that. So you should be able to see YouTube right now. Can you?
I do. I see EMP.
Right. So this is the editor and publisher podcast, and I just wanted to play a little bit from it. There was some cool clips that I thought would be interesting to hear and just highlight. This is, Mike Blinder interviewing the industry leaders, just a bunch of people from different media associations talking about, their predictions for the industry. And just check this one out. I thought it was an interesting point that they made here.
One of the major ways that Nancy's organization is working to help newspapers and broadcast is through Google and Facebook. And I got to bring this up. Dave, you're working in Congress, or you are currently leading some charges to get Google and Facebook to pay for the content they exploit. Am I correct? Can we get an update, Dave, on what's going on with that kind of legislation, where where your association is on that today?
Sure. First of all, I always get pegged as the sort of Google, Facebook antagonist, and I guess that's fine if that's what people want to say. But I've always described it, including on your show, by the way, Mike, as there's much more opportunities. There's a fit together of journalism and the platforms. We solve problems for them too, right? And that we need to get to sort of a new era in the relationship. I do believe we are in a historic moment, like music was 100 years ago,
Sure.
with the advent where their distribution was disrupted, and music licensing was developed in response to that as a way to return value back to publishers. But music, by the way, was a print business, and
Right.
and then it evolved. And that system, by the way, has carried music through a lot of other stuff, including now the internet.
So, okay. So this is what they do in these reaction videos. They kind of play a little clip and then just talk about it. And I didn't really set this one up, but this is related to our ongoing coverage of Google and Facebook and how they are, impacting the news industry. They've had a huge impact as it is. So now it's like things are finally catching up and people are recognizing that things need to change. But I mean, I just thought it was interesting the point he made about music, the music industry, because it really was completely disrupted by the internet. Napster, these people just started giving it to each other, transferring it peer to peer. And then Napster basically got shut down, and like sued into oblivion, and they just disappeared. But that's kind of the same. I don't think we're going to see that with Google. They're not going to go away because of this. But what has evolved is you've got things like Spotify and Pandora, all these licensing apps that do it legit. They're paying the artists per play. And I think there's some interesting things that we could kind of learn from what has happened to music. And I also thought it was funny how he said it used to be a print business. Do you know what he's talking about there?
Yeah, I do. and I was just going to bring up, because MTV is actually what first disrupted
Right.
music industry. I don't know if you remember when MTV first came out. I mean, all of a sudden,
Right.
all this music is out there, and
On
before
TV,
they had videos, it was just the cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre? Yeah. And it's been a totally different journey for them. But I think, some type of app, one day that aggregates news like Spotify does and, makes it on demand. It's a subscription service. So people pay for access, but they can also just listen to ads if they want to. Maybe that'll be the way that we go. But they talk about some other interesting things about Google and Facebook here for the next minute or two. So let's play a little bit more.
Similarly, with local broadcast, their distribution was taken over by cable companies. In 1990s, retrans took about 15 years, was developed as a way to return value back. I think we're in a moment where our content, which gets distributed primarily through two platforms, is got to have a new deal of compensation through those systems. And we're working in Congress for a bill that would set up a system for that. By the way, there's things around music, there's things around retrans. This is sort of a new era, and we're pretty optimistic about that. And that's not happening just here; it's happening around the world. But at the end of the day, again, I think our content is not only valuable, but is valuable on these platforms and to the platforms for that. So, and if you look at all my members, they all have various kinds of commercial and other deals with Google and Facebook. I'm fighting a longer term fight, which is how do you get, what does the compensation system look like for digital news content? And I'm feeling pretty optimistic about our chances in that.
So yeah, he's someone to watch. Obviously, I don't know much about News Media Alliance, but it sounds like they're actively pushing forth this legislation. Maybe they're looking at Australia and how they're doing it there. But I just found this interview very interesting. And then I think at one point, I think I'll skip this other thing I was going to show and just switch over to this other point that this woman, Tracy Powell here, she very smart lady. She was like kind of a new name. I'd never heard of her before. All these other folks I'm familiar with as being, the leaders in the industry. But she came on the program and talked a little bit about these are her closing thoughts on the future of news in the post-COVID era.
Tracy, I'm saving you for last. I got to tell you, you've added so much perspective to our discussion, and it's an honor to have you. I hope we can continue some dialogue one-on-one in some of these as well. Tell us more what you believe the future of the industry is.
For sure. And thank you for having me.
My honor.
So I want to echo everything that I've heard today in terms of business models, membership, subscriptions, events, government funding, philanthropy. We're going to need all of that to support this industry. And funders are fiscal. So, can't always count on philanthropy, but it will be part of the mix for sure. I think the biggest story will be the post-COVID recovery, not just our recovery, but our country's recovery from this pandemic. And the best positioned places to tell the stories and to support the recovery are community and local news outlets, not just because they reflect the communities they serve, but they are producing news and information in ways that the folks they serve consume it. So, if you are, an immigrant or a farm worker in North Carolina, you conceive information through your ears. You don't read English. Little education, so you may not read or write in Spanish either, and so you consume information through your ears, and
so that was the point I wanted to highlight there. Like, she understands the need to diversify how you share the news, and everyone is now getting their information through text, audio, and video, and our hometown is leading the industry in this area. We are all in with the audio news format, with audio articles, podcasts, and just audio articles on the website. And so, she's pointing out, people just for a wide variety of reasons, they don't all read news. It's not necessarily that they don't speak the language. It could be that. It could be that they're, have vision problems. They cannot physically read it on the screen. They're just too busy. They're moving around all day long. They're not sitting at a computer. They're like, they're not like a knowledge worker that does all their work on the computer, and they can just tune in occasionally to read the local news. Or they're just a young person that has never read the newspaper, has never subscribed to the website, but a podcast could hook them. And then, that could pull them in and maybe get them interested in reading the paper online. But maybe that doesn't ever even happen. And they're just a podcast listener. But whatever it takes to get the news in front of your audience, we got to be thinking creatively about this. So
I totally agree with that, Matt, with everything that she says too, especially post-pandemic. But
right.
I think, more and more publishers are beginning to realize this. At least
Right.
because they've heard of it. What we offer is automation.
Right.
That's the key.
Yes.
Automation.
Exactly. Yes. That's a point that I always want to make here, because podcasts are not new. I mean, they've been around for decades, really. The iPod was like the first format for getting a podcast, and it's basically just recorded audio. And people have been doing it for a long time, but newspapers have not gotten into it. And why is that? Because it's a ton of extra work to manually record it and do the editing and publish it. Every little thing that you need to do, you're going to need to do every week or maybe every day, however frequently you want to make this a show. And so that all adds up. So every bit that you can eliminate, every little bit of work is going to just lower the barrier to entry. And this is just, I love it because it really is in the mantra of our hometown ever since the start of the company, which has been to repurpose your print content in the most turnkey and automated way possible. So most of our customers still use the PDF to HTML conversion. That has been our bread and butter the entire history of the company. This is the next generation of that. So it's taking it from the PDF to HTML to an audio podcast. And all those things you don't have to lift a finger to do. We're doing it for you, or we have systems that are automatically doing it. And I also did like her point about, how the story of the recovery. I mean, that is a huge story. Like everything as it opens up, every single restaurant, every small business, the schools as they're opening up, it's all like stuff that people really want to know the details on. That's stuff that they're going to be tuning into. Honestly, I'm kind of out of the loop. I don't read the Salt Lake City Tribune personally, so I don't really know where we're at. I have a very vague idea because we're all isolated. So like unless you have a publication that you like and that you can get their content, there's not really a good way to get it. You can turn to social media, but what are you going to get there? It's a lot of opinions and it's just
Right.
unverified. So
Again,
we need it now more than ever because we're isolated. We need that channel. That's weird.
And you mentioned restaurants, and I've seen, just poking around in publisher stats, the articles that are most read right now currently are restaurant articles. Health and fitness and restaurant seem to be the two most read things right now. Right.
Yeah, these are the most important stories in our communities right now. So it's good, topic if you're looking for something to write about. All right. Well, I think we got to end it here. So I'll talk to you guys shortly when we jump on with Sam, but let's call it an office hours for today. Thank you very much. I appreciate all those FAQs. Really nice job.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Talk to you both later.